Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to Football Discussions. And today we are coming at you with a brand new mock draft. This is just a one-round mock draft with trades pre-Super Bowl. We'll probably do a two to three rounder after the Super Bowl. But before we get started, please make sure you subscribe. We are doing a giveaway at 1,000 subs, 32 GM subscriber mock draft. If you're interested in that, we're gonna do like a Zoom subscriber mock draft where we can have 32 different GMs making trades and taking picks for their team. So leave a comment down below with the team that you would want to be. But regardless, let's get into this mock draft, starting off with the number 1 overall pick, and it's none other than Trevor Lawrence. I'm not even going to explain this one. It's obvious. Trevor Lawrence is going number 1 overall, barring some extraordinary Deshaun Watson Jaguars trade, which I don't see happening because, again, Trevor Lawrence has fallen in right into the Jaguars' lap. So why, sell the house if you can just hang on to everything, hang on to all your assets, and draft a great player in Trevor Lawrence at 1. At 2, this one is Zach Wilson, quarterback out of BYU to the New York Jets. And I understand the argument that you could say Justin Fields is a better quarterback. And if you just watch college football, I fully understand it, right? Because Justin Fields was an electric college football quarterback. He produced very, very good numbers, was really, really good, and obviously a Heisman candidate. But when it comes down to it, I think Zach Wilson possesses intangibles that Justin Fields doesn't. Justin Fields is in a simplified offense in Ohio State, right? It's mostly a one-read offense where he doesn't really look past that first read. And if it breaks down, he's able to escape with his legs and create with his legs, and that's why he was such a successful quarterback in college. But when you look at Zach Wilson, he's able to, progress, look past that first read. When the play breaks down, he extends it with his legs, but, still is looking downfield. And even if that first read isn't there, he can stay in the pocket, make plays as well. His eyes are really good, not to mention that great arm strength and the mobility, like I was just touching on. Throws at those weird arm angles that we see Patrick Mahomes throw at. I think he's a really exciting player, someone that I'm really excited to see in the NFL. And I saw a great comment yesterday when comparing Justin Fields and BYU. Scout the player, not the team he played on, right? So BYU obviously doesn't have top tier competition, but when you look at Zach Wilson, there's just something about him that tells you that he's going to be a really solid NFL quarterback. I've really never been this high on the second best quarterback in the class, I'll say. Obviously Trevor is the number 1, but I'm really, really high on Zach Wilson. I think he's the second best player in the entire class, and I think the Jets need to start building up their team. And obviously Sam Darnold probably didn't have a fair shot, but when it comes down to it, it's a business, and he's probably on his way out of New York. So they get their quarterback of the future, barring some Deshaun Watson trade again here in Zach Wilson. At 3, just mentioned him. I know it can seem like I'm a Justin Fields hater. I'm really not. I think he can be good in the NFL. I think this is the perfect landing spot for him. So I have Carolina trading up. They're trading their 8th overall pick, the 40th pick, which is in the second round, and a future second rounder to Miami for this 3rd overall pick. I think it's a great deal for both sides. I think the best thing possible for Justin Fields is to go to a place like Carolina with a coach like Matt Rule who knows how to rebuild a team. We saw him do it with Baylor in college, and hopefully he can do it with Carolina as well. I think they should hang on to Teddy Bridgewater, let Justin Fields sit a year. And I know that's not what a lot of people want to hear, but I think Justin Fields sitting a year, half a season even, could be super beneficial to his game. Maybe something like the Dolphins did with Tua last year with Fitz. The Carolina could do something similar with Teddy. I think it could be really, really beneficial to Justin Fields here, really help him develop as a player, which he needs, right? Because like I said, I don't think he's a plug-and-play quarterback, someone that's going to come in right away. There's a lot to learn. Ohio State quarterbacks have really never been good in the NFL, and obviously Justin Fields is probably the best we've ever seen. But again, I think just the development that Matt Rule can bring to the table for this kid, as well as the help that Teddy Bridgewater could do if he stays around in Carolina, could be really beneficial. Not to mention it's a great deal for Miami. Instead of reaching on a receiver right here, they get a extra second-round pick this year and a future second-round pick next year, so they're getting pretty good value, and hopefully the Panthers get their quarterback of the future. At 4, you could say Trey Lance here. I'm not going to. I think PENEI Sewell's the pick. The Saints front office. The Falcons hired someone from the Saints front office, and in the Saints front office, they picked 5 offensive linemen in the past 6 years. Makes sense for this new GM to go in the offensive line direction, especially when you have a generational talent like PENEI Sewell here at 4. Again, Trey Lance, great player. I think he's a great prospect and can be good in the NFL. Sounds like the Falcons are all in on retaining Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, so I think it's very, very likely with the top 3 quarterbacks off the board in this scenario that the Falcons go PENEI Sewell here at 4. At 5, I have the Bengals getting Rashawn Slater, and I know it might be a little enticing. You want Jamar Chase, Bengals fans. You want to reunite Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. But when it comes down to it, Joe Burrow's not going to have a very long career if he keeps getting hit around like he did last year. You got to protect him in the trenches. This is a prospect that people have higher than PENEI Sewell in some areas. You know, a lot of people, there's been a lot of rumors that Rashawn Slater could go even higher than PENEI Sewell. So it goes to show the prospect that he is, the hype that he's getting. And obviously the Bengals, like I said, need to protect Joe Burrow, so it's a good fit. And again, Jamar Chase is really enticing here, but I think you got to protect Joe Burrow. That's got to be your number one concern. At 6, I have the Philadelphia Eagles going Jamar Chase, the wide receiver out of LSU. The Eagles have never had a receiver like this in a very long time. He's physical. He dominates the point of the attack, has a great release, is able to just get open, doesn't have to be schemed open, and that's exactly what an Eagles quarterback needs. That's what they've been lacking. Jamar Chase is just a wide receiver one, a pure X receiver, and again, that's exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles need. It's a match made in heaven. You could say DeVonta Smith is better than Jamar Chase. I would heed that argument. DeVonta Smith is a little on the smaller side. Jamar Chase is more physical, more dominant, and that's why I have him higher than DeVonta Smith right now. If the Dolphins were picking higher than the Eagles, I think they would go DeVonta Smith just to pair Tua with DeVonta, someone that he's comfortable with. But in this scenario, the Eagles get the first pick at the wide receiver crop, and they go Jamar Chase here. And like I said, it's just a great fit. At 7, just mentioned him, DeVonta Smith, wide receiver out of Alabama. With Jared Goff's contract, it's going to be interesting to see if the Lions can re-sign a guy like Kenny Golladay. Regardless if they can, they're still going to be without most of their wide receivers. Marvin Jones is going to be on his way out. Danny Amendola is on his way out. You got Quintez Cephas. He could maybe develop into something, but getting a wide receiver 1 or 2, depending on that Golladay re-signing, I think is very important. Getting Jared Goff some weapons to throw to. DeVonta Smith probably had the best college football the best wide receiver season ever in college football, comparable to Jamar Chase's of last year, right? 2 of the best receiving performances we've ever seen in college football. But the Lions get some help at the wide receiver position. You could argue corner, you could argue linebacker. Micah Parsons could go here, but right now I think DeVonta Smith is the selection for the Lions. At 8, we got 3 receivers in a row here. Triple receivers. You got Jamar Chase at 6, DeVonta Smith at 7, and now Jaylen Waddle at 8, the wide receiver out of Alabama. Just an electric prospect, a dynamic playmaker. If he's healthy, he could end up being the best receiver from this class. And again, just someone that Tua's comfortable with, someone that Tua's thrown to before. Jaylen Waddle's just, like I said, just an electric player and a good fit in Miami because of that relationship that he has with Tua. They got to get Tua some weapons. Devontae Parker is a solid receiver. Mike Gesicki is one of my favorite tight ends in the NFL, but getting a dynamic playmaker like Jaylen Waddle would be very, very good for this Dolphins offense. At 9, we have another trade here. It's San Francisco trading up with the Broncos. They're giving up their 12th overall pick, their second-round pick for the 9th overall pick, as well as a 5 and a future 5 from Denver. So Denver giving up some value back, but they're getting a first and a second only for 3 spots, so I think it's a fair trade all around. Now, I know 49ers fans, some of them are all in on Jimmy Garoppolo and some of them aren't all in on Jimmy Garoppolo. I think that Kyle Shanahan really, really digs this Trey Lance prospect. He's a fun player, and with him falling this far, the Denver Broncos are a serious candidate to take him. So why not trade up, get your guy if you think he is your guy, which it sounds like that Shanahan has some interest in Trey Lance. So I think it's a good fit. Trey Lance is a baller, dude. He can sit behind Jimmy for a year if that's what you want to do. He does need some development, obviously coming from North Dakota State. If you want to talk about lack of competition, North Dakota State's right in that area. So I think Trey Lance does need some development, but great player, has that elite arm strength. He's a physical runner, a little Cam Newton-esque in my opinion. So just a really terrific fit, and I love the fit in San Fran. I think Shanahan can do wonders for this kid. So San Fran trades up, gets their guy in Trey Lance at 9 as Denver trades back. At 10, Patrick Surtain, cornerback out of Alabama. With Slater and Sewell being off the board, I don't see the Cowboys going tackle. They could possibly go Parsons. Their linebacking core hasn't produced some healthy players, or hasn't produced players that can stay healthy. Jalen Smith had to drop off and play, and then, of course, Leighton Vander Esch seems to always be injured. But they do need help in the secondary. Patrick Surtain Jr. out of Alabama is a beast. Produced very well at Alabama this year. Was basically an island. No one threw his way. He's a terrific corner. Someone that I think could bring, exactly what the Cowboys need in that secondary to the table. Just a boundary guy that can lock down those outside threats. And I really like the pick for the Cowboys. At 11, just mentioned his name a few picks back, Micah Parsons, the linebacker out of Penn State, an absolute beast here. Micah Parsons is a really terrific player, has some character issues, but in my opinion, he is the best defensive player in the class. Just someone that's really solid, someone that can play in coverage, someone that can obviously stop the run and get after the quarterback too. We've seen him do it all at Penn State. The opt-out, I don't think is going to hurt him all that much. He put up enough stuff on film, whereas to show that he's one of the most dominant players in this defensive class. So I think the Giants get an absolute stud at linebacker. I'm sure they want to get their hands on a wide receiver, but it's a deep wide receiver class. They can go that route in the second, and they get the best defensive player, in my opinion, here at 11. At 12, this is via that 49ers trade. We have the Denver Broncos getting Caleb Farley, the cornerback out of Virginia Tech. This kid's perfect in Fangio's scheme, really has great scheme versatility, and the Broncos need a boundary quarterback. Obviously, Bryce Callahan's solid in that slot role. He played very, very well for Denver last year. Michael Ojemudia, also more of a nickel type. A.J. Bouye probably on his way out this year. He's probably just going to be a cut for the Broncos. So Caleb Farley really helps them on the cornerback front, and I think that's their biggest need right now. So the Broncos get their cornerback of the future in Caleb Farley. At 13, same as Joe Burrow, obviously you got to protect your franchise quarterback. Justin Herbert's the Chargers franchise quarterback. He balled out last year, so they get Christian DARRISAW, the offensive tackle out of Virginia Tech. I think it's a pretty clear-cut 1, 2, and 3 at tackle in Sewell, Slater, and DARRISAW. Then there's a drop-off, and, it could really go in any order with guys like COSMI, Leatherwood, Tevin Jenkins, you could throw in there, Jalen Mayfield, just all those guys could go in really any order at the back end of the first round. But right now, I think DARRISAW is a clear-cut third, a really good player. And again, it's just as simple as you got to protect Herbert. At 14, we have another trade here. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars trading up 25 from 25. They're giving up 25, 46 to Minnesota for a 14th overall. They're hopping in front of the Patriots, getting their tight end of the future in Kyle Pitts, the beast out of Florida. Just a really terrific player. A mismatch, the definition of a mismatch. And he just got Trevor Lawrence. Why not get him the best tight end I've ever seen play college football? Just someone that's really, really explosive. Basically a wide receiver. Can line up against college quarterbacks and dominated them there. I can't wait to see what he's going to do versus NFL linebackers and safeties. Just, again, the definition of a mismatch, and the Jaguars get an absolute playmaker here at 14 with this trade up. At 15, we have the New England Patriots going Mac Jones. Mac Jones is someone that's really, really been a riser, right? He's played very good football this season out of Alabama, and then had probably one of the best Senior Bowl performances of all time. Really, really played well in practice. Obviously didn't get to play in the game because of he got cleated. I think someone stepped on his foot, but he had a very, very good week of practice. The thing that coming in was like, can he fit the ball in tight windows? Does he have the arm strength? And he proved that he definitely has the accuracy. The arm strength is still a concern, but the accuracy is there. He might be the most accurate quarterback out of anyone in this class, and is really just going to be a game manager. And I think that's what the Patriots need. They need someone that can, understands football, understands what to do with the football. He's very Tom Brady-like. He's a smart kid. I'm not saying he's going to be anywhere near the level of Tom Brady, but I think it's a good fit. Bill Belichick knows how to use quarterbacks like these, and if you can build a solid team around him, it's a good fit for New England. At 16, I don't think it's necessarily a great scheme fit for the Arizona Cardinals, but they certainly need a cornerback. I think it's their number one need. So getting J.C. Horn, the cornerback out of South Carolina, makes the most sense. They do need edge. You could go edge here, but with J.C. Horn still on the board, I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting him. Again, I think I've said this in past videos, his success is pretty scheme dependent. We'll see how he fits in a scheme like Arizona if he ends up going there, but I think he could end up being a good corner no matter what. He has the athleticism. It just comes down to the technique, and I think that maybe the Cardinals can develop him into something, but it's really just you could either go best player available or you could go your need, and this is really just a huge need for the Arizona Cardinals, so they fill it with J.C. Horn. At 17, first edge to go here is KWITY PAYE, the edge out of Michigan. I've said this in past videos. KWITY PAYE is not personally my edge one, but I'm mocking what GMs are going to do, and it feels like a lot of people have KWITY PAYE as their edge one, as the highest rated edge in this class. I compare him a lot to Jadeveon Clowney. I think he gets after in the run game, but doesn't do the best job at getting after the quarterback. Regardless, like I said, a lot of people seem to have him as their edge one, which probably means a lot of GMs are thinking of him as the edge one. So the Raiders do need someone to get to the quarterback aside from Max Crosby. They had one of the worst pressure rates in the NFL last year, so getting edge is important, and KWITY PAYE could fill that role for Las Vegas. At 18, I have the Dolphins filling their hole at linebacker by getting Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, JOK, the linebacker out of Notre Dame. He's very good. I think he's better than 18th overall. I'd probably have him in my top 15 players. Just a really fun talent at linebacker. Really can do everything there. And the Dolphins just get their Raekwon McMillan replacement to play alongside Jerome Baker. And then I think they could quickly develop into one of the best young linebacking duos in the NFL. So Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah to the Dolphins makes sense. You could go running back here. It's certainly a possibility. But I think running back, again, is a replaceable position. You got guys like Williams. You got guys like Najee and Travis Etienne that could fall to the second round and probably will end up falling to the second round. So it's going to be interesting to see how the running back class plays out. But I think linebacker is a far more valuable position. And the Dolphins that get their guy in Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah here at 18. At 19, this is a really fun one. KADARIUS Toney, another guy that balled out at the Senior Bowl, dealt with drop issues, but that's not a consistent thing throughout his career, right? He had 0 drops at Florida last year. What he did prove at the Senior Bowl is he is an electric and elite route runner. Really just dominated people. No cornerback was able to guard him. No one knew where he was going. He has a great plant foot, has great hips, fluid hips, and knows exactly what he's going to do. He's just a tremendous route runner. That's exactly the type of playmaker that Washington needs. I think Washington will end up going the free agency route to get a quarterback, maybe a guy like Cam Newton, maybe a guy like Teddy Bridgewater, maybe even Sam Darnold. So we'll see what Washington does at the quarterback position. But I think with them picking at 19, it's just going to be too hard to get a quarterback to fall to them out of these top 5 guys. So I have them going KADARIUS Toney, getting a receiving threat. Offensive tackle is another need for them. We'll see what they end up doing. But it's going to be interesting. I think KADARIUS Toney is a really fun player and fills a need for the football team. At 20, here's my next best tackle, Sam COSMI out of Texas. Bears' offensive line was abysmal last year. I think aside from the quarterback play, it was probably the worst thing they had. It might have even been worse than the quarterback play. But Sam COSMI is a good player, fills a need for the Bears, and I think that's what it's all about here when you're picking from 20 to 32. Who's the player that's going to fit your team the best? Who's going to fill the need for you? And then you can have a little fun in the later rounds. At 21, I have the Colts going TEVEN Jenkins. This is a guy that's rising pretty fast, the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State. He's a good player. He's a physical offensive lineman. The Colts need to replace Costanzo, so it just makes sense. They could be another quarterback role. I really do believe that they're going to end up getting Carson Wentz, in my opinion, but we'll see how it all plays out. But with the top 5 guys off the board, I think they go, and with the top few corners off the board, I think they go offensive tackle. And right now, I have TEVEN Jenkins as the next best one. At 22, I have the Tennessee Titans going Joseph Ossai. They could really build up a solid pass rushing core here. You got Jeffrey Simmons. You got Harold Landry. Now getting Joseph Ossai on the other end could be really, really effective. I don't think Jadeveon Clowney will come back. I know he had some interest in re-signing, but that's kind of an expensive price tag for someone that really didn't produce for the Titans. So even though he might have some interest in re-signing, I really don't know if that feeling's mutual with the Tennessee Titans, especially when they could probably have their pick of the cream of the crop at edge rusher here at 22. I don't expect edge rusher to be a hot commodity in this class. I think a lot of these guys are going to be going from 20 to 32. So Joseph Ossai to the Tennessee Titans makes the most sense to me. At 23, this is a kind of a luxury pick, Gregory Rousseau. It definitely feels a need. The Jets need someone that can get after the quarterback. They are really generating 0 pressure right now. And you could say corner's a more important need. You would be reaching on someone, though. You could say running back, but with all the running backs available, you know you're going to get a pick here when you're picking second in the second round. So I think you got to go, fill a need and get one of the best players available in Gregory Rousseau. Someone that generated pressure, got 15.5 sacks his sophomore season. Obviously, opted out this year. It's going to be, or I think it was actually his redshirt freshman season, so he was going to be a redshirt sophomore. The opt-out in the lack of the combine, obviously going to hurt his stock a bit, but Gregory Rousseau could develop into a really good player and someone that I think I'm excited to see in the NFL. So like I said, Jets need someone to get after the quarterback, and Rousseau does that pretty damn well. At 24, first running back off the board. With a few of these tackles gone, they could go Alex Leatherwood. They could go Jalen Mayfield, a few of these other guys. But right now, I think Najee Harris is just a really fun running back. I think the underrated thing about Najee Harris is his receiving ability. I have him as one of the best receiving backs in this class because he's electric after the catch. You see him make those hurdles, those stiff arms, hit sticks, or truck sticks, and then the spin move as well. So Najee Harris is a really, really good, talented player, and probably in my opinion, is the the best running back in this class. So the Steelers fill that void. It's going to be interesting to see if they re-sign James Conner this offseason. I don't think they will end up doing so. They got a few guys, McFarland, as well as Benny Snell in there, and getting your lead horse in Najee Harris could be a very good pick for them here at 24. At 25, this is who I would have mocked for the Vikings at 14. So they're getting great value here with this trade, getting an extra second-round pick, and then getting Elijah VERA-TUCKER, the offensive lineman out of USC. He has great versatility. He's probably the most versatile guy in this class. Maybe Rashawn Slater you could throw in there, but interior offensive line, offensive tackle is what I have him as. The Vikings could use help pretty much all over the offensive line, really at guard though, and I think Elijah VERA-TUCKER fits the best there. Just a really good tackle and interior offensive lineman out of USC. And again, this is who I would have mocked them to have at 14. So it's really fun to have him fall all the way to 25 and the Vikings to still get a great pick up here. At 26, I have Azeez Ojulari, the edge rusher of Georgia. A really fun prospect, gets to the quarterback more consistently than any other edge in this class. A really terrific player. I think the Browns getting someone alongside Myles Garrett can make that defense elevate to a whole new level. Obviously, you have probably the best edge rusher or a top 3 edge rusher in the league in Myles Garrett. So getting him a counterpart in Azeez Ojulari can be a lot of fun for this Browns defensive line. At 27, I have the Baltimore Ravens going Rashad Bateman, the wide receiver out of Minnesota. I call him Baby Michael Thomas. He does a really good job at running those shorter routes, the slants, the ins, the outs, and he has a great catch radius. And I've talked about this before. I say Lamar Jackson needs someone with a good catch radius because of the fact that he doesn't throw the most accurate ball, and that affects guys like Marquise Brown. I'm not a Lamar Jackson hater, but if you think he's like the most accurate of accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, you're high and you're just biased because you're a Ravens fan. He's really not all that accurate. Rashad Bateman brings something to the table that's exactly what Lamar Jackson needs. You could argue edge here, but with some of the top tier guys being off the board, I think Rashad Bateman's a great pickup for Baltimore. At 28, this guy is basically Kenneth Murray from last year. I really like that comparison. Nick Bolton, the linebacker to Missouri, he's a fast riser in this class as well. He's a really physical guy, hits hard, isn't the best coverage linebacker, but it's not something that he can't do. But again, he's just an absolute mauler, hard hitter, terrific player, and a good fit in New Orleans. At 29, I've mocked wide receiver for the most part for the Green Bay Packers. I think corner is a need, especially after Desmond King's performance in that NFC Championship game. So why not get literally the opposite type of corner from Desmond King? Not a baby back bitch, someone that's physical and dominates the point of attack at cornerback. Aaron Robinson is that guy. He'll press people. He's really, really physical, isn't afraid of hitting, and his coverage skills are really good as well. He had a good showing at the Senior Bowl, someone that is a fast riser as well. So I think Aaron Robinson's name is someone that we can expect to see called in this, I would say, 26 to like 40 range. So Green Bay Packers get a good corner here at 29. At 30, I've mocked this before. This is one of my favorite fits. David Collins, the edge linebacker out of Tulsa. The Bills could use both these positions, so having someone with scheme versatility and someone that has positional versatility as well is a great pickup for them. So the Bills get an absolutely terrific player here, someone that I think is well worth the pick here at 30. I think he's probably a top 20 player in my opinion, so he falls a bit in this mock for me, but again, he's a good player. Nick Bolton just fit the Saints scheme a little bit better. They don't need another Zach Bond. I think Zaven Collins is a better version of Zach Bond, so the Bills pick him up here at 30. At 31, Jalen Phillips, another fast riser in this class, the edge rusher out of Miami. Doesn't really feel like the Buccaneers are going to be able to afford bringing back Shaq Barrett. So Jalen Phillips, a little cocky player. I don't mind the cockiness. Sure, he's kind of a hothead, but you kind of like that at football, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So Jalen Phillips is someone that I think with some discipline can become a really, really solid NFL player. Got penalized quite a bit at Miami, but aside from that, he has really good technique. He was a grad transfer from UCLA, and I expect him to be pretty solid in the NFL right away. So the Buccaneers get their Shaq Barrett replacement here in Jalen Phillips. And to finish off the mock draft, I have the Kansas City Chiefs going Wyatt Davis, the interior offensive lineman out of Ohio State. He's someone that I have as a first-round caliber player. I expect him to go in 20 to probably 40 range. I know that's probably a big range, but interior offensive line is really kind of an interesting need. Teams really don't value it all that much. You see what the Chiefs did this year. They kind of patched together an offensive line, and it worked on the interior. And Wyatt Davis could fill a need for them. Obviously, get rid of some of that patchwork, get as a really solid player here. And with KADARIUS Toney off the board and Rashad Bateman off the board, I think they go Wyatt Davis at 32. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's mock draft. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you want to see more mock drafts and more draft content, please subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment down below if you are interested in the 32 GM mock draft subscriber mock draft, and leave a comment with the team that you would want to be. Take it easy, guys. Peace.